Happy CCL Eve, everybody. I'm Garrett Weinzierl, here as always with Kyle Fergusson for a brand new episode of Into the Nexus, episode 397 to be exact, as we march closer and closer and closer to 400. But that's not what we're here today for. We're also not here for Mischief Night. That's 2 more nights away. As I said, this is CCL Mischief Night. Can we coin that? Is that a thing we can do? Because we're so damn close to Halloween. Yeah, let's do it. There's got to be a better way. We'll workshop it over the course of this podcast. But that voice you just heard saying, quote, I like that, is none other than Bahamut returning. You should be resting up, sir. You should be resting your voice, getting ready to go crazy on CCL. But you took some time today to come hang out with us.
Oh, I could not pass up the opportunity to come by Into the Nexus and talk about CCL. And, you know, we have other days to rest our voice, like Saturday morning or something. I don't know.
Are you a tea man? What do you do?
Oh, God, yeah. No, I've actually got 2 cups next to me. I got a black tea and a green tea.
Oh, good stuff.
Oh, even out. Yeah. But I've also heard about the legendary bucket of water that was used during the hotter months.
There's no AC where I live, and so we actually had like a massive heat wave this summer, and it was like 90 degrees outside. And during season 2 of CCL, one of the weekends, I think my office was around like 85 degrees, so I just had a bucket of ice underneath my desk to try and stay cool.
Oh my goodness! I always thought about getting one of those vertical tower fans. Mm-hmm. That were like real hot in 09, and like making a bracket to mount it like horizontally under my desk to just kind of blow at my thighs and, keep me warm, keep me cool.
There were future weekends of CCL where I basically just had a bucket of ice behind a fan in the back of the office, so the fan wouldn't be on the microphone, but it would at least cool down the room like a degree. But we suffered through season 2, but at least now it's winter for me. Like I had 6 inches of rain on Sunday, and there's snow right now for us. So I'm happy. It's nice and cold.
I did not realize that you were MacGyver for broadcasting. That's good to know. That's
you gotta be
building your own AC for the sake of esports. Already learned some new stuff. But yeah, we're recording this on Thursday, October 28th, and we are less than a day away, essentially, from CCL Season 3.
It's exciting stuff. I seriously, like, this is like the highlight for me. I'm ready. Like, I want it to be Saturday. I can skip Thursday and Friday, honestly.
Yeah, it's the hype is palpable, But if you were hanging out in the chat room for the pre-show, you got to see Bahamut showing off all of the new Cecil emojis.
Yeah, we have our new mascot for Heroes CCL, Cecil. And funny enough, like a little bit of lore, because I know Jules tweeted this out, so I'm not relieved, I'm not giving away any sort of hidden secrets. But Cecil's name came up because the running joke in production is CCL Cecil. So they started calling CCL Cecil, and that's how the name came about.
It's good stuff. These new emojis look absolutely wonderful. I realize most of our listeners, you're picking this up on the audio only, but you should head over to the Heroes Hearth Twitch channel and take a look at these things, because they're just damn delightful.
And sport people take it for granted, but mascots are really, really important.
Mm-hmm. I can't really think of one from any other esport I followed with any sort of regularity. I was big into StarCraft 2, obviously big into HGC Heroes days. I got nothing.
Right. It's one thing to do cosplay, but that energy all goes back to the video game. You can't then take that character and make it your own and get fan art going and get everyone hyped on them. Like I am unrealistically perhaps excited that CCL has decided to make a mascot. I think it is huge.
I would agree, honestly. I mean, we already have, I think when we revealed the information yesterday on Wednesday, there was already tweets asking like, so how are we going to get Cecil into Heroes of the Storm as like a banner or a spray? And I'm like, I'm all for it. Like, who do we got to call to get Cecil into Heroes of the Storm? Because I'd love a Cecil spray.
Brew, are you still out there listening? Can we make a request, a humble request? I promise to play better the next time we group up for any game. If we can get this adorable little fire dude into
one spray,
just one
spray.
I mean, listen, I will start the negotiating at one spray, but if you're feeling saucy and you want to get some of these other poses in there, I will not say no. will not say no. I'd like to see the dance one as an animated sprite. That's just.
Oh my god,
that's
yes.
just me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah. That's awesome. So I'm trying to pull from memory. It's just now thinking like what this is like 2 full years of CCL now.
Yep, just about. Yeah, we've been doing CCL for quite some time. I mean, I've said it before. CCL started back in the Celebrity Clash League, where we did 2 seasons of that with Not Paradox and I casting that. And I remember at the midway through the second one, Workhorse came to me. He's like, "I want to make a league that has a stipend that has this," and I was like, "Dude, this guy's insane. Does he wants to do what?" And here we are, like getting into season 3, and we have organizations from EU, NA, we have players from across the world. It's exciting to get into this season 3 because we've grown a lot as an org, as a community, and as a league as well.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, Kyle and I have been talking about quite a bit recently. Obviously, it's coming up, but our focus has really shifted to esports in the last couple of weeks, and it's sent us down a bit of a nostalgic trip.
Okay.
How dare I forget memory lane, the word I was clearly searching for and forgot. But we were talking about how like just it's so nice that like we were so excited when CCL first fired up, and we've been so happy to see multiple seasons a year for 2 years running and just watch it grow, watch it improve, but more so how much it is tapping into like specifically Kyle and my own nostalgia for the esports scene of like 10 years ago, where it was for the community by the community. I loved HGC, but it wasn't quite the same. It was we came out of StarCraft 2 and we were like, whoa, what do you mean? What do you mean Blizzard just starts day one with their own esport in house? That's not how this works. You got to get organizations like DreamHack and MLG to like build some booths and figure this stuff out.
It's been a really, really good, just community supported and very well driven project. There's a lot of people that cared so much about CCL, and I think that's what really amplifies the entire league itself, because everyone is so invested. No one's really out to get gains over other people. We're all working to make this the best possible thing for the community. And if we get enjoyment out of it, that's cool. But this is for the community. This is the celebrity. This is the community Clash League. Like that is the reason we shifted into this larger production, larger season, and larger overall league. It's awesome to see us here in season 3. And I was actually just jumping back and looking. We had Icebreaker tournament before Halloween a year ago. So yeah, season 1 of CCL kicked off around early November of last year. So we're just about 2 years ago. We're just about we're really just coming around the corner on all this. It's exciting stuff. Like I can't wait for just the week 1 of just the insane matches and everything we're gonna get. And who's gonna pick Cho'Gall? That's the biggest question.
Do you have a bet? Is there a pool with over at Heroes Hearth?
Wildheart, Granite, and maybe Oxygen. Those are the 3 orgs that are kind of like, all right, Bahamut, well, maybe Diamond Hands here and there, but sometimes Goon pushes his players to let me have some fun as well.
This is quite the story, actually, because we go back to Fight Nights as well.
Oh my god,
which happened in January of 2019. I remember that tweet that Workhorse did. Almost in fury. I don't want to speak for him, but he saw HGC get canceled. Like 2 days later, he's like, "I'm just gonna make it myself to the internet," and we're all like, "Go!" we're really hopeful, and here we kind of are with it becoming a way bigger establishment, and not in like the points kind of way, because StarCraft embraced all these smaller tournaments. It fed into their scene, but it was rather convoluted. You didn't really understand how that seeding helped out them in the big thing for BlizzCon. But here, it's a lot more natural of a flow. You go through NGS, you do some Heroes Lounge, you make a name for yourself, you work hard. We have these really distinct roles too that really help out players get noticed because they become amazing Dahakas, your Rel 1 tricks, and everyone starts to know their name. They start to whisper it on the wind. And then people go, "Oh, a tank player left. Like, who's the tanks right now?" It's just, it's thematic. I had a lot of trouble over the years getting into WoW PvP. But I kind of assume that's what this energy is like. It's just really exciting to look at our individual players, know their roles, know what heroes they're amazing at, and just be rooting for them. Like, I can't choose my favorite team because I'm actually kind of more like rooting for individual players. And that's really awesome.
I would absolutely agree. Also, you said, you kind of made a little bit of an allusion to Windrunner there. And Sylvanas, my favorite example of CCL is what it does for the game as a whole. Think back over a year ago. Was anyone taking mind control ever? No, it was Wailing Arrow every single time. It was always Wailing Arrow, mind controlled, never. But then Oxygen comes through on Battlefleet of Eternity and destroys, I believe it was Simplicity, with a mind control composition. And the next weekend, Storm League, NGS, Heroes Lounge, you're seeing it everywhere. And now you actually have a lot of different talent choices and varieties with a lot of these different heroes. And I think a lot of this is inspired by these weekends of CCL with these, what we have now are, in my opinion, the pro players of Heroes of the Storm kind of trend setting the meta for all of us. So it's exciting to see what's the innovation for season 3. Are we going to see some crazy new Jaina build that's it's Ice Lance only or something on Towers of Doom? Or will we see, murky proxying waves and just bribing camps constantly? I think there's a lot of really cool meta development that these players individually, as you were saying, Kyle, have kind of showcased for all of us. And I think we kind of move out of these meta ruts that we constantly find ourselves in.
Well, and to build on that, the developers are playing into it subconsciously in that way. They're not constantly sitting there with two big hammers saying, stop that, HGC. No, you don't do that. It's for the fun of the home game, and then professional players grab onto what we're having fun with or what we haven't discovered and showcase it in this very organic way. I feel like there's been very few points where Blizzard has straight up, the Heroes of the Storm team has said, stop that, CCL. It's been, yes, Val is powerful. Yes, Cigar is too much. What have you? And she's banned this weekend, for instance. But they're constantly battling in the arena that I'm playing in, and that is just so huge.
You were affected, though, Kyle, I think, by maybe the closest thing we saw to the Heroes team going stop at CCL, which was, last season Cassia was really popular.
True.
And she's now been nerfed, and you felt the sting of that in your home games.
Oh, it's a passing sting. I got to Masters. The end of the screen, the season's gonna be like, your Masters. I'm at Diamond 4 right now. I'm just having lots of fun. But it's gonna be like, your Masters, Colin. Be like, I know. I did it. Thank you, video game. I asked for 2 weeks and they gave it to me. I will never fault any of the balance designers because they gave me those 2 weeks to finish that out. But I am kind of excited. It's chaos in many ways because at the end of last CCL season, the final matches were played right after a balance patch.
Oh, yeah.
And now going into this season, we're likely to have a balance patch for the second week of CCL.
It wouldn't be the first time we got a Friday balance patch, though. Like, there's.
Oh, you think tomorrow?
I'm just saying it's possible, but unlikely. However, unlikely.
I, as a harbinger of chaos, would love that. I would absolutely. I'm sorry, Chili Mountain, Oxygen. I'm sorry to all the orgs and teams. I love it. It's. I mean, on the caster analyst side, I'm sure Grubby and Justin would love this as well. Because we all get to kind of experience it together. But I'm sure the teams would be like, no. Can we have a week to practice, please? Like, drop it on a Monday or a Sunday, maybe.
I'm just saying I can think of multiple times this year where we've, because we always do this show on Thursday where we kind of message each other like, it's Friday morning and a patch drop. Oh, well, okay. This is what it is. But
that's true. Yeah, that's true. That just changed up a little thing on the podcast here and there.
Yeah. And so as far as watching CCL games go too, like the fact that it's been a little bit without a patch, it's irrelevant. We've had a little bit of a break between season 2 to now. So, I mentioned Cassia. Are there any other kind of major shifts that have come about as a result of the patches that have happened in between season 2 and season 3 that you're excited to see play out over this weekend?
Dahaka, honestly. Kyle mentioned it earlier, but Dahaka has had, even within the grassroots league of NGS and Heroes Lounge, I keep seeing so much Dahaka. And I really I just think he's in a phenomenal spot as a solo laner. I don't think solo lane gets showcased enough. Solo lane and support roles do not get showcased or highlighted enough. And I think Dahaka's a really, really big playmaker for any team that can get him with global. Also, that lurker strain that does about 4 to 5 different things in one talent. I think that is it's such a strong tool that I've seen so many Dahaka players pick up because it's a really great anti-dive tool, for these solo lane players. So I think solo lane and Dahaka specifically for me is what I'm really excited to watch.
It's also exactly what I expect the first balance patch to attack.
Yeah.
It's what you expect, or it's what you're hoping for, Kyle? Because I think the month of October on Into the Nexus has been burn Dahaka to the ground month by one Kyle Fergusson.
It's true. I'm that otter with the unstackable blocks because I picked Dahaka and I never win. So I'm sitting here like, what is the secret? Why is this so amazing? You gotta land them.
Yeah, you just gotta land the tongue drags.
Exactly. And then of course you watch High League play and they land it against better players. So there's no excuse for me to be bad. But I'm bad. It's fine. I'm an okay Yrel. That's where I put my points on my character sheet. But it's actually going to be a bit harder now because Race Car Dahaka, which is quite a bit different than we used to know him, is coming back because of Towers of Doom in a very big way, which is leaking onto all the other maps, which means the spinning ultimate damage, spell armor, Dark Swarm business is subsiding right now. So what I complained about for a whole month, Garrett, is actually no longer in vogue, no longer fashionable.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it'll go back to fashionable depending on how people build their Dahaka this week.
Or they nerf the old thing and we keep the new thing and nothing changes.
That also is something that's happened in the past as well. So there's that.
How fascinating is that? That's a possibility that there's this many layers going on with Dahaka.
The other kind of highlight for me is going to be range assassins, because we have such a, I wouldn't say stale priority onto them, because we, Vala, Greymane, Cassia here and there. You get a Jaina, you get a Li Ming, but and Hanzo. But will we see more Mephistos? Because Mephisto started having pretty big priority last season, and I believe it was Kepi was the one who kind of initiated that. And we have Pirate Rum, who got picked up by Oxygen. And Kyle knows all about Pirate Rum's Mephisto play because you guys did a video together. So I hope to see maybe a little bit more of that influence coming in. I'd just like to see a little bit more variety on some of the range assassins. I'd love a Kel'Thuzad. I don't know how viable he is at the higher meta, because does it always circle back to the conversation of, well, you could pick Kel'Thuzad, but you could also pick just Kael'thas or Jaina, who kind of just do that already better, or Gul'dan, who has better heroics. So I want to see more variety in the range assassin, and I'd like to see some of these kind of very fun picks, in my opinion, like Kel'Thuzad. I don't know. I just have a lot of respect for mechanically savvy players on that hero.
And the whole game has changed and evolved. And I'm gonna flatter Grassroots Here's the Storm some more here. But our players, maybe not to the minute 8 hours a day mechanically, are better, but in the team sense and how they're working maps and macro, have grown an immense amount over the last 2 years. And Mephisto is such an awesome example of that, because they're feeding him orbs for his spite trait. And the whole team working around Mephisto to feed him that stuff. It's one thing to empower Kel'Thuzad stacks. It's another thing to do this completely, what can seem like in solo league, arbitrary made up business. But also things like rotating for Samurai on Hanamura.
Ooh.
That is, I'm so happy. I don't think I've shared my happiness. Garrett, Bahamut, I'm so happy because the solo lane has been opened up so much on Hanamura, because people are actually rotating for the Samurai. No longer is it a solo lane where you say, hi, oh, hey, how you doing? Are we a matchup? I don't know. See you at the camp. All right, I'm going to go camp. You go camp. We'll go camp. And okay. And then the solo lanes go off and camp. It in fact is more of a duel now than it ever was, and it's way more interesting to watch.
So wait, hold up a sec. This is not CCL specific, but let's talk Heroes of the Storm for a sec. Are we going to? The point I'm trying to make is, historically, we tend to like maps that the greater community as a whole learn, that they know the rules of, things like your Dragonshire. And I think it's part of the reason there's so much nostalgia nowadays for Haunted Mines, because we all knew those rules even in our at-home games. Is Hanamura going to do an about face where we go from it being the most complained about Battleground to one that everyone likes because everyone knows the rules?
No, I didn't say I liked it.
I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm now casting a wider net.
I think the greater issue with Hanamura is that you have an objective phase that doesn't do much, but you kind of need to get it because you don't want to lose it, even though it doesn't do a ton. It's like, it tickles the towers, but you really want to focus on getting your Sentinel camp, the giant Genji, into the lane. So it's kind of one of those weird things. Like, I think people understand Hanamura, but I don't think people are going to, like, fall in love with it. I feel like if the objective phase was a little more powerful, then I think maybe there's a little bit more contest on that map and a little bit more of a drive to actually go for the objective phase. Kind of like Triglove Protector in Volskaya Foundry. It's cool to win the objective. You get the Triglove, and it's kind of like, I guess I'll get a front gate in top lane.
Yeah, and that's one where that was an issue out the gate, so much so that we were just ignoring it. Then they buffed it. We were all excited about it, and now slowly over time we've realized that no, you can just keep your heroes out and accomplish more again. Yeah. So we've kind of slowly over time just learned how to eke value out of not using the objective again. So we're right back where we started on Volskaya. So.
What is our map pool actually for the upcoming event?
I'm glad you asked, because I was I double checked with the commissioner, and I am allowed to talk about it. Basically, the quickest and easiest way to put this is Garden is out, Volskaya's back in. We do a player vote every season at the end, but we waited till the draft was over, so that way, if there's a new player drafted into a team, they actually get a voice in this, and they don't come into a team being like, oh, I gotta play Blackheart's Bay? Like, damn. But yeah, no, there were some votes for Blackheart's Bay, I will say that. I believe that was Wildheart, so thank you to Wildheart for voting for the good map. But yeah, no, it's we do a player vote. All the maps are open and available, but basically the trade is Garden of Terror is out and Volskaya Foundry is back in. So we are going back to season 1 Hero CCL map pool.
Interesting.
Yeah, they want to fight over a Triglove over the instead of the Garden Terror, which I like Garden of Terror more than Volskaya Foundry, just because I feel like the drafts are more dynamic and more fun on a competitive level, for me at least.
Yeah, I think of it as like from a home game standpoint. Overall, I like Garden of Terror better. Talk about battlegrounds that have done an about face. Like Garden of Terror used to really not be a fan of that one, but I do so very much love the fight pits on Volskaya. Sure. Just the way they've set up the geography around those 3 nodes. The fights are always so damn entertaining.
And you also get a lot of opportunities for Volskaya for wombo combos, but it circles back to the conversation of like, cool, you won the objective phase, and let's say it's early game, death timers are low. By the time you get your Triglove, you try and get some meaningful siege, the enemy team's back, and that first Triglove is moot. So, Control Point B, a little bit better. Control Point C often is considered like the ending Triglove, but I feel like we circle back to Control Point A so much more for like a fourth objective phase consistently on that map. At least in a lot of the grassroots that I've been seeing in a couple of the games that we had leading into the season for season 3.
Okay, well that's good to know. That's an interesting one, Volskaya versus Garden. I would definitely rather play Garden, but
same, 100%. I'd rather play Volskaya than Warhead Junction, though. And good news, Warhead Junction is not in CCL. I have been telling my chat that it is in, and I don't think they were very happy about that.
Were you trolling them, or you were just not sure yet?
Absolutely, yeah. I said Blackheart's Bay. I said Haunted Mines. I said that we're getting rid of all the maps and doing Silver City for every best of 5 series. So yeah. I haven't been truthful with anyone on this.
just lying through your
teeth. Just you two.
Oh well, thank you.
Honestly, I would be kind of interested in it just because we have to play it now in Storm League. You definitely can see it's the main map where you go, oh, look at you. So much quick match. I play quick match all the time. I know where to hide, where I put my nukes, where I can't be seen.
You also know to wait at 4 minutes for the first nuke, right?
Wait, is there like a hidden upgrade?
You always wait because I believe nukes scale per minute, and at 4 minutes, if you launch the nuke past the 4-minute mark in the game, it scales to the point where I believe you get the vast majority of like the front wall, and then you will get the well confirmed. So if you want to snipe a well with your first nuke, wait till 4 minutes. because you will always at least get the well, and I think it does a decent amount of damage to the front wall, if not taking down a lot of it. I just played Volskaya and I completely forgot about how much damage it does to that. But either way, wait till 4 minutes. Always wait till 4 minutes. That is my PSA to people when you play Warhead Junction.
Weird.
Yeah.
Why? That's my brain says it's buildings. It should do percent-based damage because buildings and the nukes, they don't like change. They're machines. They're buildings. They're not upgrading.
Listen,
in the background.
have you looked at the planet that map is on? It is clearly acid rain. So the longer the game goes, the weaker the buildings get. They're just slowly deteriorating, Kyle.
Okay, everything's made of trash. Okay.
I will come up with some bad lore reason that this is the way it works.
Interesting.
I'm actually with you, Kyle. I would not mind seeing Warhead in CCL, but I feel like at the speed Heroes moves now, though, like Warhead being a draft map still feels pretty new and fresh. Maybe give it another season.
I mean, let me say I do have a kleptomaniac problem with my nukes. I do not want to let them go. I often leave them uncast for several minutes, so I am succeeding in the strategy.
Now, the question that I have for you is, because I run into this issue all the time when I play when I play Warhead Junction. Once you launch the first nuke, or once you get rid of the front gate of those forts, do you struggle to use your nuke? Like, I don't want to use a nuke on just a tower. It's just a tower. But right. I don't want to wait so long that I have to rush up and try and nuke a keep front gate. Like, I struggle with that decision all the time, Kyle. Like, if there's no front gate at a fort, I'm like, where do I put my nuke? Like, what am I supposed to do with this?
I'm absolutely the same. Yeah, it's a satisfaction thing, right? Like, which seems kind of, you said tower, but like also usually like the fort's still there. Like, it feels like you should feel better about potentially killing a fort, but there's something more satisfying about watching walls, towers, and well go. It gives me that, hold on to all my potions in like a Zelda or something type, horde
it was like
mentality.
when you got to fire the ion cannon back in Command and Conquer. Like, it was just like, oh my god, I'm doing so much damage with this. Like, it's just devastation. And here it's just like, boop. All right, well, that's 50% of a fort.
Right. Well, and for me, I can use a card game analogy here. You've got some 4/4s on the enemy side. You have a card in your hand that deals 1 damage to everything, and you've got nothing but 3/3s. So you're naturally going to take a huge amount of damage, play completely unoptimized, sack all your 3/3s into the 4/4s, so you can play that 1 damage to everybody, and they all go up in one big card, and you feel so great about it.
Kyle, you need to play Hunter in Hearthstone. We need to teach you a few things there.
I was doing card games for everybody else. I could have done a Darkest Dungeon. I'm obsessed right now, so I'm doing my best. I
can just feel you. I can feel your desk shaking from across the country with excitement.
I am eager for the weekend.
Darkest Dungeon and CCL, they go hand in hand because you can take nice slow turns and watch the esports. Exactly. I'm right there with you, Kyle. Like, I play Hearthstone on the weekends and I watch a lot of esports because I can kind of a little bit of Battlegrounds and then focus on to whatever esports on my other monitor.
The new Mercenaries PvE is the perfect like multitask game.
Oh, is it? Okay, yeah, I have to check it out more. I did one of the few tutorials and I was just like, I'm gonna go back to Battlegrounds.
Yeah. No, PvE is it's like very surprisingly Pokemon combat-y. So it's just like, I'm gonna queue up my attacks and then let them rip. And PvP is the same way, but obviously you got to think a lot more because they're trying to murder you too.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a great couch game. Like,
all right, I'll check it out tonight. Absolutely.
Yeah, give it my watch it like during downtime in CCL or something. Blessing. Like, you want something to play on your couch. That's a decent way to go. But yeah. So, all right. So Volskaya's the, I guess, closest thing we have to a wild card map.
Yeah. I mean, Volskaya's, it can get a little crazy on the map. But I feel like the drafts are pretty comparable to like Infernal Shrines. Like, you don't need to focus on skeletal defenders, but you still need to be able to do a double soak rotation between 2 lanes, a strong solo lane that doesn't, can maybe get away from a gank. And then you need something, or at least a synergy of a 5v5 over the control point A, B, or C.
I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, that is an analogy for sure.
It's like Infernal Shrines, except that the objective phase is a lot weaker than a Punisher.
Yeah,
a lot
a lot weaker. Which, God. I don't want this to become the Volskaya critique episode, but
sure.
It's like, imagine you could control the Infernal, like how much damage you could do. Like, oh, give me that power in the Triglav, and also don't split it up over. Don't make me put 2 heroes in there.
That is, I was just about to say, like, my only 2 cents on Volskaya Foundries, I'd like to see a version of the Triglav Protector where you don't need to take 2 people to pilot it, because I think that is the most crippling factor when you do win the objective phase, is if the enemy team has 5 members, your siege potential just drops down so quickly. But if it was maybe 1 person in the Triglav, like Dragon Knight or the Old Garden Terror, and then you still have 4 members to work in siege, like, I think that could be what really amplifies the value of the Triglav. But I give a lot of credit to the people that work on this game, and I'm sure they've tried that in the background, and maybe it's a little too powerful in that siege factor. I just like to see it or know how it actually works out in the background.
5 smaller Triglavs and you can Voltron. That's what I want.
Someone actually said that to me before too, and I was like, perfect. You know what? It's one Triglav that actually falls apart into 5 SCVs. That's what it should be.
Oh, I mean it's
not Overwatch, but whatever. You know what? Throw some SCVs in there.
I don't care, right? It's Heroes of the Storm. A little portal opened up and some StarCraft leaked into the Overwatch map. That's fine. I'm fine with that.
That would be perfect.
So if that's the wild card, what's our gold standard? Infernal Shrines seems like
or Battlefield, in my opinion. Those are like in any best of 3 or best of 5 I've casted. I always find that those are the tried and true maps, because camp timings and rotations are so optimized on both of those maps, and draft styles have been very optimized for both of those maps as well. I also love Towers of Doom too. I wouldn't say it's like a wild card, but Towers of Doom can be a little bit of a wild map, because you can't, win a big team fight, rush the core. You got to play the map out.
Well, after seeing so many games, are there any things that we haven't really thought about that you've seen repeated, that there are odd macro choices that are forced, something you'd like to see changed on the maps outside of the ones we've talked about?
There was something we started seeing towards the end of season 2 of CCL, and I caught it more in Heroes Lounge from the European side of Heroes of the Storm, which was on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Teams were prioritizing a lot more bottom lane through Tomb, and actually having someone like a Zool or a Dahaka or a Sonya doing double soaking between top and mid, and then just forcing through bottom consistently with Siege Giants and Web Weavers, which was an interesting adaptation, because typically you consider top lane the winning lane for Tomb because of Boss and Web Weaver. But that was an adaptation I saw, and I thought it was really, really cool, because it does catch some teams off guard with just the hot priority through bottom and a strong double soaker like Azul, Sonya, Dahaka for that top mid. I'd like to see innovation like that. I'd like to see us move out of just, we're going to Infernal, solo and top, double soak mid to bottom. Like, I'd like to see, maybe we play like a 1-2-2 or something like that. We don't have these, not forced rotations, but prioritized rotations. I think just some sort of innovation to how we play some of these maps, I would be really excited to see. And I think Tomb offers that. A little bit of Volskaya as well, because same premise, focusing onto bottom lane during control point C, focusing bottom lane throughout the game, because control point C Triglav often is considered the game-winning Triglav, and if you already open up bottom, you just rush through keep and end game, hopefully.
That's where meta provides intrigue, though, right? Like, it's when things are the gold standard, and players with the talent, like we see in the CCL, find ways to upset that status quo. That's where things get exciting.
Well, and I said earlier, it's the same thing, like, going back to season 1 of CCL, even innovation and just the talents and the heroics we're seeing from players, like the mind control Sylvanas. I would actually love to see, crazy enough, I'd like to see somehow someone utilizing Locust Swarm. I know Cocoon is just, you take someone out of a fight for X amount of seconds, but I want to see someone find a way to innovate with Locust Swarm on Anub'arak, because Anub'arak's such a strong tank, and we've been seeing him so much, but I'd like to see Locust Swarm somehow, some way. Maybe that's what's going to be buffed in our next patch. Maybe we'll see more of that. Who knows?
Interesting. You sometimes get in these exchange situations where this isn't the case right now. Isolation is still really big on Dahaka, but they say, I'm going all offensive talents, but I'm taking adaptation to make up for it. I don't feel like there's a damage or like stun enhancing build where you go so far in like Anub'arak non-survivability that you would say, now I need a heal.
True. I mean, even then,
he's
like,
just inherently non-survivable is the issue there.
Like Beto build is so strong, Harding Carapace build is so strong. Like every single way that you look at it, even Burrow Charge build for a new bracket, if I'm not mistaken, all of these have some sort of way to have more sustainability. I believe there's a Burrow Charge that gives you some shielding. There's beetles that can give you leeching. I think it's like the leeching scarabs, I think is the name of the talent, so you can get HP from those. So I want to like I just love to see some way somehow we actually get a Locust Swarm game, because I want to say in the 4-ish years I've been casting Heroes of Storm, I've seen maybe a Locust Swarm game, and I think it was a joke or a mispick.
You know what? Let's take a book from Kerrigan or Phoenix for that. Let's fire a blast of locusts, and then they stick around and do stuff. Like there's initial something that's not the swarm business, that's more random, that you can control.
I like that. That actually would be really, really cool. Like you had some sort of skill shot, and then it would you landed onto the enemy team healer. Let's say it's a Kyrande. You skill shot her with the Locust Swarm, and it maybe reduces vision and does damage over time, something like that. That'd be kind of cool.
And then sticks around and buzzes, and is the lesser form we now know, and gives him that survivability.
Yeah, that'd actually be really, really interesting to see if it was some sort of skill shot where it was a control tool rather than a survivability tool.
Well, and the survivability aspect of it is somewhat counterintuitive, right? Because Anub'arak, by nature, is typically focusing like a single hero, and when things are going bad is when you're surrounded by multiple heroes, which is what Locust Swarm, where it shines. So you're kind of speccing to lose? You're speccing to be in a position you don't want to be in?
Yeah, maybe if you're going into a composition that's clumped up a bunch and that's the only way you're going to initiate into it, I could see that maybe being the direction. But yeah, I'm with you on it. It's kind of you have to misposition or play bad to get value from a talent. Doesn't seem like a good choice to me.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it could be interesting in a counterpick type thing. Like if you're like, oh, they've got more stuns than I was hoping for, but then I think we need to up the power of Locust Swarm or give it some kind of like healing increase while you are crowd controlled or something like that.
Yeah.
Make something like that into it. It's fascinating because like it had its time in the spotlight, but that feels like ancient history now.
Oh well, it was overtuned, like because it's straight damage and health numbers. There's no sort of leeching. There's no damage relation to the health number that you're getting, but it was just way too much. And I will also say again, the beautiful thing about summons in Haunted Mines was that they followed you. So we had this really aggressive beetle locusty build. Noting that too, deals damage per second to nearby enemies. Each enemy damaged restores health. So he does get more health the more people he's around. He deals more damage. But there could also be a world where a set number of locusts assault who is nearby. So one target would take way more than a group.
Oh, that'd be actually really interesting too. Yeah, where it's just it's proximity based, I guess is probably the best way to put it. If you're in within X range of a Anub'arak while Locust Swarm is active, then it targets that hero, and if there's only one, then it amplifies the damage. That could definitely be something very interesting.
I wasn't expecting to workshop Anub'arak today, but I am here for it.
Hey, I know the Blizz developers, every single one of them listens to this podcast, so we're just trying to feed them some really, really cool ideas. Cecil sprays, Cecil banners, CCL stuff in game, Anub'arak rework, get rid of Phoenix. A couple things here and there. What?
Okay. Kael'thas. No, Kael'thas is Phoenix is fine. You're talking about Phoenix. Okay.
No, the Phoenix with a P. Phoenix with a P is fine. Wait. Phoenix with an F. Yes. Okay. Gotta get out of here.
That's a popular opinion. I don't think you'll find much argument except for the Phoenix players.
No.
There's a few that don't like my opinions on Phoenix, but I just time them out, and they can sit in timeout.
We haven't really mentioned healers much. Do we think that the Right Wing nerfs moved the needle enough to not make her the second most popular healer? I think Stukov took the #1 most played healer spot last season.
Stukov is hot priority. You know what I feel like I've been seeing more and more of, and maybe it's more and more Kyrande. Like I am liking how much Kyrande we're seeing, and it's been solo healing Kyrande, but I've also seen Kyrande plus Uther, which I think that's a great synergy as well. You have the Hammer of Justice plus the Lunar Flare for some chain CC. some Divine Storm if that's a choice for Uther as well. So more Kyrande, honestly. I think she's in a great spot. And we did see her a couple times last season where specifically Yasu actually got one of the Owl snipes and got a kill right before we actually had that buff to her where the Owl sniper, if you kill someone with the Sentinel, you actually get the reset on it. So I'm excited to see more of her. I think she has a lot of viability, but it may be just niche here and there, or maybe more synergistic with like things like Stitches or follow-up CC with the Lunar Flare.
Are you... Yeah, it's interesting with that, because last week, Kyle, the Brightwing stealth concern came up.
Oh, yes. So a popular concern. Of course, the Invisible Friends just changing the fundamental gameplay.
Yeah, and like that being a known sore point for the community, I wonder if that's going to be a candidate for a future nerf, and if so, if it becomes kind of on par with Shadowstock, it just pushes Kyrande that much further into viability and popularity.
It's also a lot of passion. Like you talk to some healers, and they don't want to play Ana again. They've played a lot of Brightwing. They might want to get weird with the Deckard. Some of them have dabbled in tank and want that Uther. But a lot of them are like, give me Kyrande every game. They're just like banging on the table. Give me Kyrande.
On the note of just other healers that we don't talk about very often, Alexstrasza. I would love to see her specifically on control-based maps like Volskaya, like Infernal Shrines. We mentioned earlier, or Kyle mentioned earlier, about Mephisto with the trait talent. There's a trait talent at 4, and there's also a trait talent at 13, if I'm not mistaken, the Hysteria, and that synergizes with the level 4 and your heroic. And on a map like Infernal Shrines, I've actually seen the Ghillie Sharks do this when it initially came out, when she had the reduction on the amount of regeneration globes she needed to actually proc her own. And they basically just had constant cooldown reduction on Mephisto heroics. Like in a single team fight, you would see like 2, maybe 3 Durance of Hates being fired out because of just that's how much cooldown reduction you were getting from this synergy of Alexstrasza and Mephisto. So I'd like to see things like that. Like I want to see some more Alexstrasza because I think she is insanely undervalued. But at the same time, there's always the conversation. She puts a giant target on the ground. You grab a Chromie, you grab a Kael'thas, you grab a Jaina. They just put damage on that circle, which that becomes the issue.
Yeah. Alexstrasza comes up. I feel like once a month. Kyle, do we get fixated on Alexstrasza's and the issues?
She's sitting right there. Yeah, it's hard not to when you
no,
you
her
look at
heel
the big,
is sitting right there.
We're sitting on a big pile of heroes, and you go looking at the healers, and you think to yourself, "Man, what do I want to play today?" And I've just been enjoying and playing around with Anduin, learning that. But I want to get back to Rhaegar. We have all these desires, and often Alexstrasza is a favorite of many. And there's some really amazing players out there who can use things like the switch of not existing for a hot moment. I don't know if you want to call it invincibility frames, but when you go into dragon form, you simply do not exist, and you can dodge a pyroblast. Like there are Alexstrazzas that have trained to that level, but they've been out of the meta for so long they don't get to play their favorite hero.
I'm just going to keep pushing for Lily. I want Lily to get buffed enough to be a meta healer, please, and thank you.
Hey, Wildheart likes to play it and awkwardly keep playing it when it doesn't work, but hey, there is that. Look, I'll be honest. There was 1 week in a CCL where they drafted Lily, and I was like, "It's not working. Stop!" Like they just kept playing Lily. It was like 3 games in a row, I want to say, and I was like, by game 3, I was like, "Grubby, I got nothing, bud."
Wasn't there a bet in the background thow? If Oxygen could win with Lily,
or maybe it was Oxygen who was doing
someone had to shave their head or something. I don't
remember this. I might have not heard about this one. I'll have to come. Yeah, I'll have to ask some of the CCL people and see.
Maybe
if
it was
they
a Cavalier Guest NGS exclusive story I was getting.
Yes.
I was being told why those Lilies happened and why they were not shameful. They were done with the best intentions.
Hey, what was it? Week 3 of season 2, Granite Gaming on Garden of Terror drafted an Asmodan, a Deathwing, a Murky. I can't remember what the other 2 things were, and I was just like, why are they doing this? And they were like, we did it for you, Bahamut. And I'm like, I want you to win too, though.
All right, so we know the path to you putting aside caster impartialness is overdrafting Lily.
Oh, yeah. Get an Asmodan, you got me. Get a Cho'Gall, you've got me. Lily, I'm interested. If you lose with it, I've lost interest, and when you draft it again, I'm just like, oh, I don't know what you're doing here. You must be seeing something I'm not. But either way, yeah. There's a few ways to our caster hearts, but it's those interesting niche picks that we never get to see. Like even white mains. Like I love to see a great white main. I haven't been proven that she's been super good in CCL, but I think there's viability for her. It just comes down to who's actually piloting said white main.
In our games at home, white main is fear factor number one for me. When I see a white main get picked, I'm like, oh no, it's just like one of the 3 players. That's all they play, and they're magnificent. Yeah,
They exist.
Always scares me. Always scares me.
You know they're working hard in the background to get good at. Like the Vala, they may have not played for 3 months, but Whitemane, she was playing just yesterday.
Yeah.
Those Medivh players as well, same thing. Those Medivh players, they got their level 300 Medivh, and that's all they play. But when they get it, oh boy, you better look out.
We ran into one of those a couple of weeks ago. I think we even talked about it on the show because I was like still bruised as a result. I had Heroes of the Storm whiplash from some triple-digit level Medivh. It was just the pits. Well, before we move on, because Kyle, I know you want to talk about players, but before we pop the lid on that discussion, let's take a quick moment and thank the folks at home that are supporting this podcast. And those are the fine folks over at patreon.com/ITN, where if you're listening right now to the sound of my voice, you're thinking to yourself, damn, I listen to the show a lot. I listen to the show every week. These guys keep me informed, even if it's by accident sometimes. I really appreciate that. I like the cut of their jib. That Kyle guy sounds real handsome. You should head on over to patreon.com/ITN and consider supporting the program. It's an opt-in subscription, so whatever works for you. We've got some levels that are up there. We got like a $1 level, $2 level, but I'll let you in on a secret. It's not a secret. It's just how Patreon functions. You can put whatever you want in there. Whatever works for you. It's opt-in. We're never going to put the show behind a paywall, but if you want to support us, check out the Patreon and come join us in our patron-only Discord and get an ad-free version of the show for your trouble. And in the last week, we have a brand new patron to thank. We want to thank Cameron Nutter. Thank you, Cameron, for signing up, becoming an Into the Nexus patron, and supporting the show. We really appreciate it. So with that in mind, let's talk players.
And it's a rather interesting bit of drafting we have going on here. We're talking a lot about healers, which aren't necessarily being changed up a lot. The thing that interests me the most about the draft is how many new tanks we have.
Yeah. Sorry, I was linking you both a spreadsheet I have from draft day. If you'd like to take a look at it. It has I screenshot it for you. Basically, anything in yellow is a new player, and then everything else is color coded if you want to see. And then the rounds of draft is in there as well. But a lot of priority, as you were saying, Kyle, onto these tank players, and I agree. Like, it's exciting. Like 30K picked up Bad Benny and Nagram. So the question that I was sitting there posing was like, okay, well, who's going to be main tanking? Is it Nagram, who had a really good showcase in the free agent tournaments and Bad Benny kind of coaching, or is this going to be a mixture of both of them and they're two different styles synergizing with the rest of 30K? There's a lot of questions in just that draft right there.
Well, then you got Diamond Hands, but picking up an entirely new tank in that sort of way, as we've known them as a healer for Caesar Salad. You have really, really hungry players that are joining a pool. I mean, of course, you know, we got our Lobbers, our BBJs, the people you've loved watching for a long time, Nasmus, Liam, but there's so many new, just like really hungry faces entering these teams. And I really expect them to kind of like drag that passion out of players who've been playing for a really long time.
Oh, I mean, look at Simplicity with Mene, or Chili Mountains got Smexy. Like, there's a lot of history. Or even Diamond Hands, they got June, as you were talking about Diamond Hands. So there's a lot of hungry new players, but a lot of really good experience that was pulled in from this draft as well. I think Wildheart has probably the biggest hill to climb as I look at their draft, honestly, because it is not everyone's super new, but it's not like the pro players by name that we know. Like, it's like if you've been around the community, Tremor, Lupus, Slug Hunter, you've seen those names, but it's not like, as I said, June or Smexy or Mene, who you're like, oh yeah, I know those names.
It's a lot like our buddy cops. Any sort of buddy cop. You got the old grizzled, old grizzled vet. You got the new guy that's here to clean it up. And I'm just really excited for that dynamic to evolve. I mean, Wildheart's such an interesting one because they have such a organization. They've got their own internal teams to practice with and experiment alongside. So they get really weird in like a we've done this before kind of way. Whereas Oxygen, for instance, gets weird in a yeah, but the math holds up kind of way.
I would definitely say, yeah. When I look at Oxygen, I feel like they do things by the numbers, and they definitely figure things out like that. Whereas Wildheart, they're a little more free and loose in the way that they approach the game, in the sense of like, you know what, this could be fun to play. Let's give this a shot this weekend. So that kind of seems like the mentality when I've talked to Goon in the past. I've been like, man, like I don't, was the team just like, were they just having some fun today? They didn't seem like they were like super invested in the games. They were just drafting a little weird. And Goon was like, you know what? Sometimes we win and sometimes we lose and we learn. I'm like, that's a great mentality to go into and come out of a series with. Like, if you don't expect to beat whoever you're going up against, why not have some fun and learn from it as well? And then come back and, try and run it back in the gauntlet, or as we like to call it, the gauntlet, where you vie for that fourth spot at the end of the playoff series. Or start, excuse me.
So we spent the beginning of this show talking about your hopes for upsets within the meta. I think it's something we're all looking forward to. With so many new players, do you think that moves the needle towards seeing crazier picks, or most of is a lot of the new blood still kind of playing Heroes of the Storm that we kind of know and love and expect?
Scrims will maybe shape and direct some of the new tanks coming in, if we're just talking about like maybe tanking as the focus here. So I think when it comes to main tanks, we'll probably see some standards, if you will, Muradin, Joanna. Maybe we'll see a Malganis pulled out here and there. Maybe we'll see like a main tank Uther, but even then, like main tank Uther doesn't seem like such a crazy idea anymore. So I think there will be some cool innovation. I expect Wildheart to innovate. I always expect them to innovate. Storm Esports as well. I feel like that's another team to innovate quite a bit as well, because Lauber likes to really kind of push the boundaries when I think it comes to the draft style as well, with the help of BBJ. So I'd like to see more Malganis. I'd like to just see more May as well. And I think that those all could be priorities. But in the first week, I think it's going to be about playing safe and getting your feet underneath you. So if a team feels like they're losing, I think they'll go back to what would be considered standards. Your Joanna, Muradin, a Nubrex, sort of, your top three, maybe a Garrosh, but I don't think we'll see anything crazy initially in the first week. Maybe in week 2 and 3, when teams become more synergistic and comfortable with each other, I think that's when we're going to start seeing the branches of some of these tanks, or even healers, if we want to, break out into that realm as well.
Gotcha. What tank do you think is the most likely culprit to be kind of a new trend? Like what pick?
Oh God, I would love for it to be Malganis. I think he has a lot of really interesting play, and he can also have some fun outplay as well with Carrion Swarm or Dark Conversion. We did see a bit of Muradin, and I personally love Muradin, so I'd like to see the adaptations of his build as well. Because are you going to go third win at 1? Are you going to go dwarf launch? Are you going to go this whole dwarf launch build? Like, what's the priority with these Muradin players? Also, I have a little investment in this. I love playing Muradin lately, so that's also maybe why I want it too. But Malganis, I think Malganis is just super underutilized as a main tank, and I'd like to see him played here and there.
I feel like I can feel Kyle rooting for this silently in his mind.
I mean, how best to put it? The disappointment factor is so high.
Was Malganis your greatest loss as a result of a nerf?
No. The Malganis' storyline is more that people learned what countered him. He lost power for sure, but he just has really extreme drafts. Now, right now we're in kind of a last pick tank kind of era at the moment, because solo lane is so powerful with Dahaka and stuff and double soaks. Assassins always want to early pick their stuff too, get what they want. There's a lot of really powerful healers. So there are definitely matches where I'm taking Malganis and where he can happen because we're late picking tanks so much. It's just that it's like overhyping a movie you haven't seen, you know? And like you're with your friend, you're like, this could be so good, man. Let's go. They're remaking it from my childhood. I don't even care what movie it is. You know what I'm talking about. Like, let's go, the best. And you move into that theater, and Avatar: Last Airbender live action plays, and you're like, what the heck just happened?
Could you have picked a more like horrific example?
That's what it feels like to lose on Malganis, though. You got all these amazing buttons.
That's your house.
Things.
Your house has been burnt down version of a live action adaptation. Like that.
You got everything should have worked out. What was the problem? And you just got stunned before every carrion swarm. You got booped out of every single engage. You felt like you were moving through molasses to try to land asleep. You know, I feel for them. I do want more Malganises. I want my tank players out there to be happy at the end of the day. And I think the disappointment's a little strong sometimes.
I feel that. Well, any closing thoughts on players before we move on and talk about maybe a wider reaching Blizzard centric topic?
I'm just excited to see what the execution of these teams look like. On paper, these teams are really, really good, but it's going to come down to synergy, scrims, and the actual communication that's had. So I think week one will be a little telling of the power level, if you will, of where these teams are going to be sitting.
Hopefully, it'll kind of set the stage, leading hopefully into a patch immediately after.
Oh man. It's really cool. I love that simplicity so changed up because they've been such reigning champs.
Like that'll be interesting to see for sure. And I do know this. It was told to me in my chat a couple times that Cure will be playing in week number 1 due to just they don't have what will be their core roster for the season. So Cure, who was saying he's not going to play, and then he's on the bench, and now he's going to be playing for week 1. But I think it's only for week 1, and if there are any other future scheduling issues with a core 5 roster. So a little bit of hype for anyone that loves Kieran might have missed him coming into season 3.
Well, there are a lot of people concerned that, because there wasn't the forced dropping of players, it was just going to be a repeat of things. Of course, balance and heroes change. But looking at these rosters, it's a huge change up in so many different ways. Gonna be a lot of fun.
That's awesome. I think this entire conversation about how there's so much new blood coming in, it's just it ties back in and is a testament to just how long CCL has already been around. It is now a pillar of the Heroes of the Storm community. That we're now, it's like, I remember being really excited that it was a brand new thing, and now we're here talking about, wow, it's been around long enough. We've got some new blood, and it's a big talking point of this season. So it's just damn exciting that and speaks to what has been accomplished with CCL for sure. So bring it on. But let's sidebar here for a second, because we got some Blizzard news this past week. We'll say this is still on topic by saying it's community related, which is that BlizzCon Line, they just announced, is canceled. An official message from someone we don't know. No one put their name on this letter from Blizzard.
I didn't notice that, actually.
Yeah, if you want to know who wrote this, so do I. Because it's just a blank addressed letter saying that they've decided that the previously announced follow-up to BlizzCon Line that happened earlier this year, back in February, they're not going to go through with it. So I think it's telling to the impact of the lawsuit that they're not even going to go forward with an online event. It's like, clearly, yes, things are still complicated when it comes to the pandemic, but I think between that and finding out that Bobby Kotick is foregoing his salary as low as the state of California will legally allow it to go, it's just like, wow, yeah, okay. The lawsuit is reaching kind of maximum effect, it seems like.
I read somewhere that it was 62,500, I believe.
It's 62,000 and change. I don't know if it sounds correct.
Yeah.
I know it's in that ballpark for sure. So I did not realize that there was a California law dictating the minimum amount a CEO can make, but I guess there is.
Can I just say I'm a CEO so I can get that much money? Can I lie? Like, I live in California. Can I write a letter and say I'm a CEO with air quotes?
And you'll be like, but damn, we gotta pay this guy more. It's the law.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, should work like that.
Yeah,
it is fascinating. You take a bunch of gamers who heavily invest in meta and rules, and you start teaching them law, and we're actually decent at it. I really commend this community for how in depth we've understood a lot of the ongoing issues at Blizzard, and it's become a whole new investigation in that way. That in that way, congratulations to the ABK Workers Alliance and what they've been continuing to pressure. I know, of course, they're going to keep that pressure on. There's a lot of advancements in that area. Certainly check out Nexus Gaming News, who have been covering that stuff more regularly. There are some quotes in here which are rather loaded in this BlizzCon letter.
Yeah. If I were to pick it apart, like a lot of this kind of like irks me because it's like it feels like they're talking around the clear reason that this is not happening. And also, I'm pretty sure I don't know her name, but wasn't Jalen Brack's wife the head of the BlizzCon team? And I don't believe she's at Blizzard anymore either.
Interesting. I know that BlizzCon became over time a money-making thing and originally was operated at a loss, if I'm remembering correct. It was a passion project, perhaps.
I don't think I don't know if that's public knowledge or not, but yeah, that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. That for years BlizzCon was just a loss, and I don't think it was until the last BlizzCon, I think, was the first one that may have actually paid for itself or turned a profit.
I will say this. I love Carbot. I absolutely love Carbot. I watch all of his animations and everything like that. Was a bit of a kick in the shin, if you will, to have the Blizz Heroes thing just be an animation segment with Carbot last BlizzCon Online. So
wait, you're saying the entirety of Heroes representation being 3 mentions and then being killed by the Overwatch cart did not please you?
Yeah. I just, my whole thing is like, if you're gonna put us on the ballot, like give us something, like give us some news, give us something, not just, hey, we know you exist. Thanks for playing the game.
Anything at all, right? Because like the year before at the last in-person BlizzCon, which would have been 2019, yes. The only Heroes panel was the making of Deathwing, and it was wildly fascinating. It was that great panel.
I wanted that panel to go on for another 2 hours, but I think it was it was 45 minutes to an hour. It was very, very short because there was still it was 15 minutes of questions towards the end. And of course there was the, will HTC come back? And it's like, no.
Yeah, come on. Listen, I applaud the passion of whoever asked that question, but what answer were you expecting? What answer? So it's like, you might as well ask for their social security number.
One day there's going to be, it's just going to be like, you know what? I'm glad you asked. We were waiting for the one person. HTC's
Yeah, we had a thing where if one more person asks, and you citizen, citizen of the Nexus, you did it. Yeah, no, it's, listen, I missed it like crazy, but we've got multiple wonderful community-run leagues, as evidenced by the hour-long conversation we just had about one of them. So I think competitive Heroes is in a good place. But yeah, the letter itself, it was interesting. It talked about how it is a quote, an entire company effort, which I'm a little cynical at the moment. There's some stuff going on. Been scrutinizing Blizzard. I read that as it's a lot of unpaid overtime because that's how I was always surprised how many devs that I knew were working pits sometimes, and it really was. But in light of everything that's happened this year at Blizzard, it's just I could see where maybe you don't want to make everyone all hands on deck work extra hard.
Go ahead, please.
It was also a surprise to many of the attendees that those were Blizz employees. Then that knowledge became known, and we heard stories of them, the your guardians. They're the ones ushering you through lines, are the employees, and they get turned on. They're on the floor. It wasn't becoming a healthy environment with that knowledge now known. It was the coolest surprise in the world, though. Like, you'd be sitting there, the screen's going, and you're like, "Oh, that looks awesome." Some guy's like, "Yeah, I did that." I'm like, "Wait, you're basically, pressing the button on the Disney ride here and letting me through to get to my computer. You made that? That's crazy. Can I step out of line and talk to you?"
There was a guy who was doing in 2019. There was I want to say it was a developer, was standing in line for the Immortal testing area for like Diablo Immortal to play it on like iPads and phones and stuff. And I was just chatting with the dude. I was just like, "Oh, so what are you doing?" He's just like, because he saw my Heroes hype shirt that I was wearing from ages ago. And he's like, "Oh, well, I do something else now, but I used to write a bunch of the voice lines for Heroes of the Storm." And he was telling me that like in a week he would write like 30 to 50 different like interactions of different characters and stuff, because they were releasing, a new hero every month back then. And he was just like, "Yeah, I was just writing like one-liners between different heroes." And I was just like, "I don't care about Immortal. I want to play it, but let's just go talk for an hour," because it was just fascinating. Because the guy was just like, "Yeah, my job for a while was just writing one-liners for weeks on end." And I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it really was a big part of what was so cool about BlizzCon, right? Is that, at least in my experience, like a lot of the Blizzard employees, they were just as kind of stoked to be there as we, the fans, were. And because it was their like one time a year where they got to get FaceTime with the people that play their games and get direct feedback, and also like show their new thing, like pull the cover off and be like, "Look at this, what do you think?" And yeah, and unfortunately, like sometimes in recent years it backfired. I guess Diablo Immortal was really the only one that was like, that I can think of, that was a categorical kind of backlash on the floor of BlizzCon. Like when Warcraft 3 Reforged was announced, everyone was stoked on it. It looked exciting, but it wasn't until it released later that we realized it wasn't the best, full-fledged product. But yeah, it's weird. But yeah, my brain starts to turn to like, what is gaming conventions? What do they even look like now? Like getting away from the Blizzard specific kind of difficulties of a BlizzCon. Like, what do we even do for conferences? I know there are still some going on. I think there's been a PAX this year, right?
Yeah, there was a PAX not too long ago. There's a DreamHack Anaheim, if I'm not mistaken, coming up. I swear I've seen people talking about that, because it's the DreamHack where you can bring your own PC sort of deal.
Oh,
I think that's true. I'm pretty sure that's DreamHack, right?
That DreamHack is typically the one where you can bring your own PC.
God, and then there's
I'm going to show my age. I remember a time when DreamHack never stepped foot in the States. There wasn't a DreamHack in the States. I went to the first American DreamHack.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was in Austin. It was wonderful.
But there's TwitchCon coming up in 2022, but that's not really so much about gaming. Granted, I don't know. They have Twitch rivals, so I don't know. Will that be like something that they have at their TwitchCon? I'd be interested to see what they do. But the landscape of LAN events is interesting with the changes of the world in totality. Really.
Can you say anything about the new Miami sponsor? Is there anything? Is there any hints you can drop?
By what?
I live in Florida. Kind of close. If anything happened in person.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm actually double checking something on my end really quickly to make sure that
I'm not trying to get in trouble.
I don't want to get in trouble because I have to go talk to Jules after this, so I don't want her to be yelling at me.
Oh,
but,
no.
No, actually, so we did tweet it out 2 hours ago. Hero CCL official Twitter, they tweeted out that we have a new sponsor and it's going to be the Next Level Gaming. If you live in the Miami area, they will be hosting watch parties all throughout Season 3, and you can even get bonuses when you play there. So that is the official tweet from Heroes CCL. So there are going to be watch parties at this Next Level Gaming. I guess it's not storefront. I'm trying to think of the complex, maybe. Either way, there's going to be places. There's going to be a place to watch Heroes CCL if you live in the Miami area and you want to go venture into their store. I highly recommend it. Honestly, if I live there, I'd do it. But I have to also be on the broadcast. So there's that issue too.
That Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. They should build like a desk or something. That'd be great. Have the casters all on.
I will. You know what? I'll just write this down and bring this up to Jules later. LAN in Florida.
LAN in Florida? Question mark. Yeah. Don't. I think Jules is aware of my Florida bias, but I was going to say you can just don't mention my Florida bias.
Oh, okay. I'm just.
Yeah.
I'll throw it out there. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's interesting to say the least. So I'm certainly missing BlizzCon, but I think more of it's like I miss seeing my internet friends. It was one time a year, got to see everybody that we get to work with together in person, all in the same place.
It's a different time. We've got different concerns, of course, in this day and age, but also it's very easy to go on a bit of a, well, we rode the bikes with no cell phones kind of rant here. It was so different back in the day. It was.
Are you
wholly.
Are you analogizing riding bikes with no way of contacting your parents to hanging out with 30,000 people with no mask on?
No. I'm going back further. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when the voice actors would leave the stage, you could crowd the stairs. You because the crowd would be 7 people, and they would all sign things and you'd talk to them. I stood there with Raynor for a bit. I stood there with Deckard Cain for a bit and just had conversations. It was a wholly different time of just people in a space. It's gotten too big.
You're so right with that too, because I remember the last Heroes of the Dorm, and it was the first one that I actually went to. It was my first LAN event. Like, I literally walked up to the stage where Gilly was, prepping to go cast, and I was like, "Can I have a photo with you, Gilly?" And she like hopped down. We took a photo. Like, it was just one of those things. But it's not so much now. Like, you go to like the StarCraft guys at BlizzCon, and they're being ushered out by they've got someone leading them out in front. There's someone behind making sure that you're not bothering the StarCraft casters because they got to get to A to B. But then you can run into them in the hotel lobby eating Domino's pizza and chat with Maynard for 20 minutes. So I don't know. I miss that as well. Yeah, it's gotten very big, and it's kind of hard to be able to fan out with all these really, really cool people you want to go meet.
Well, it's not even just a safety concern at that point too, which it is, but it's a logistics concern. Like, it's not fair. They need to be ushered for the fans' emotional safety, because if you crowded up there with 200 people, you're not going to get to hang out and talk to Deckard Cain for a bit. He's got time for 2. He's got maybe time for a lineup high 5, and you're not facilitating that well. Additionally, quote unquote, we would like to take the time to reimagine what a BlizzCon event for the future looks like. And this line could, of course, mean, health, safety, and all those sort of things. But it could also just mean like having miniature parties, having more of a social embargo thing like we saw Final Fantasy do recently, where they do a bunch of stuff recorded online and then release it to make that community atmosphere. I just don't think the numbers we are dealing with of players facilitate a enjoyable BlizzCon anymore.
So what you're saying is we should start our own BlizzCon and call it a MoveCon.
Yes.
Right? Okay, cool.
Yes.
All right.
Sure. All right. As someone who has put on a single con myself, that doesn't fill me with any dread at all.
I can see the panic in your eyes from here.
Every once in a while, the diehards are like, "Hey, you ever going to do another one of those?" And I'm just like, I would love to. Yeah. I also had a great support structure that I don't have anymore. So, yeah, that's why I haven't done another one of those. But that would be fun. Scott Johnson used to do online ones called BlizzGone, which I love the name of it whenever there wasn't a BlizzCon, when there was an off year. That's what we should just co-opt that name. I'll ask Scott Johnson for the licensing rights to that joke that I'm pretty sure he didn't copyright at all. And we'll all meet at let's just go to Disney World the same day. That's low effort. We'll meet by
Denny's
Dumbo.
For breakfast. Denny's for breakfast. We'll go to Disney World and Korean barbecue for dinner. Easy.
Sounds like a plan. It's easy. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do that stuff. Disneyland, I guess, because California. Sorry. The Florida in me. It's coming out. Well, anyways, we pulled some questions out of our Discord here this morning, and they're all for you, Bahamut. So let's open our mailbag and see y'all on the other side.
Darkness stopped calling.
Does anyone else hear that buzzing?
Hold on. Darkness just texted me.
I hope you're ready for some for starting off with an extremely hard-hitting question. This came to us from our patron Discord. You can also write into itncast@gmail.com if you're listening at home. But Tom Peace wants to make you sweat and ask, what would it take to get Bahamut to make me breakfast? I feel it's unfair to post such glorious breakfast pictures, but not share.
Oh man, that's a hard one. You know what? When Wisdom allows and starts having LAN events, then I'll show up early in the parking lot and we'll just do parking lot breakfast. Sound good?
Oh, you're gonna get like the propane like camper grill out and start like making flapjacks on a cast iron?
Yeah, I think that's probably the most appropriate thing to do. Get in the parking lot of Mall of America and just make some community breakfast.
Oh, heck to the yeah.
The CBL, the Community Breakfast League. I'm there. I'm right there. Starting it. Little offshoot.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I'm going back through trying to find. Oh my God, look at that omelet. Oh goodness.
Yeah, I do because I only eat one meal before the show, so I usually do like a giant breakfast, like 2 eggs, sausage, bacon, hash browns, toast, some tomatoes with mozzarella on the side as well, because it's just like you gotta have a decent amount of food before you stream, otherwise you're gonna be hungry. And so a 4 to 5 hour broadcast, like you don't have time to really eat a lot of food. Like Grubby, yeah, he sometimes speed runs in between, but like most of the time, a lot of us, it's not easy to just eat in between, because I don't know. For me, I don't like eating while casting everything. It just makes your stomach feel full. So.
Even if you could do it like perfectly quietly and all that, there's also like the concern of getting things in your keyboard.
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. Well, luckily for me, we have observers, so I don't have to hit too many buttons, which is nice.
It's good. It's good stuff. Crushinator had a couple of questions. Might come back around for a bonus round, but wanted to start by asking, what are the challenges as a caster when moving from a solo production where you're running your own stream, own overlays, own observing and such, to a full production where you're not handling the tech, but receiving directions and trying to work in tandem with a team?
Honestly, the hardest part is making sure that you give enough room for everyone else. My job is host, so my job is to drive the bus that is Hero CCL. I need to make sure that we stop and we talk about the players and I move the conversation along. So it is a bit of a shift when it comes from what I do in my own stream to what I do on CCL, because my job on CCL is to not talk through the draft, to not really I'm really supposed to. My main talking points are during the game when I'm play-by-playing with Grubby and playing off of what he's saying, and then moving the show along outside and giving opportune moments and setups for Grubby and what will now be Justing on the analyst desk to be able to kind of elaborate further on. So it's challenging. I would say it was really challenging and also daunting in season 1 because I was working with Doa. It's Doa. And he's just a seasoned legend when it comes to casting. And then there's also Grubby. So I was having my starstruck moments, but I also needed to be able to be an analyst. And then I switched to play-by-play, and then I switched to host. So it's one of those things that you grow as you do it. And it wasn't just me. Like, I had a lot of feedback and really, really good conversations with Gillyweed. Dreadnought's giving me a point or two here and there. The whole team on the Wisdom side, regardless of what game they're a part of, have always been able to help me out and give me a little bit more information and direction. And I think that is one of the things that has benefited me the most and helped me with such a large transition in between a solo run stream and working on a production. Because production is, you got Joseph in your headphones saying to move on to this. You've got Grubby talking about one thing, Justing has a point, and you need to basically mash all this together so it comes out as a nice, fluid conversation and a complete product when the viewer now listens and sees everything. So I think that's the hardest part, is just getting all those moving gears to line up. And once they do, it's a beautiful machine.
I've worked as a host a few times where I've had a voice in my ear, like a director or a producer. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that is, I think that of all the stuff I've done, I think that's the most challenging, is trying to compartmentalize that and still talk, speak, get your thoughts out while trying to listen to what a director is telling you in your ear. I I really enjoyed last year where everything just went online and we just started like messaging people, messaging each other what to do instead of trying to talk in real time. It was a lot easier to read and then act than listen and speak.
Well, it's like Joseph, like I'll be talking with Grubby and everything. And the hardest thing being is when you hear someone else's voice in a long conversation, typically you want to pause and listen to what they're saying. But I have to keep talking to Grubby or Justing about whatever we're talking about while Joseph is giving me direction, like players not in lobby, buy time, or, finish your point and throw it to a break because we don't have, we're going to need 5 minutes for a delay or something like that. So that's honestly the hardest thing, is just not pausing and listening to direction while still talking and listening and actively listening.
Yeah, it is a skill for sure. Kyle, do you want me to start whispering in your ear while you speak to things on Into the Nexus?
No, I agree. But there's seeing it with my eyeballs would be easier.
Gotcha.
That's why we have show notes.
Well, Bahamut, one of our lovable troublemakers, Dax, had a question for you.
Boy.
And wants to know if you're able to speak on the new location at Mall of America.
There's a location at Mall of America.
We did.
I spoke about the new location of Mall of America. That is all I'm allowed to say. You'll have to follow the Wisdom Twitter for more information on that one, and stay tuned. That's as much as I can say. I'm excited about it. There's a lot of really cool stuff.
I'm excited for breakfast in the parking lot. That's what I'm excited for.
Yeah. Mall of America breakfast. Season 5 of CCL. Sure. I don't know. I'll throw it out there. I'll put that into the universe.
You don't have to do breakfast in a parking lot. It's a mall. Go inside and have breakfast.
But it's not my breakfast.
It's not
a Baja breakfast.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what people want. They don't want Denny. Who cares about Denny? They want Baja breakfast.
Can you rent like a hibachi grill? You know what I mean?
I have
like,
to do some Googling, but maybe.
You find a hibachi restaurant and you say, hey, I want to make breakfast for a lot of people and I don't want them in my house. Can I rent the space to have the giant skillet, basically?
Wait, are you talking about renting the hibachi place inside the mall? Like it has the big flat top and you're just gonna...
Yeah, exactly. But you step aside, chef, I'm cooking breakfast and I'm going to pay you to not cook anything.
I got a friend who works at one of those back in Detroit. I'll message him and see if they've ever actually been asked that, because I'm curious. Actually.
Yeah. Because it looks fun.
Absolutely.
Great. The butter's sliding, and the onion volcano.
It's pretty.
Don't expect the onion volcano from me. I'm not that advanced.
I now want, and you just reminded me, Kyle, that for years I've heard tale of how good you are at making coffee. So now I want Bahamut breakfast with Kyle coffee.
Okay.
And I'll make some banging mimosas to go along with it. How's that sound?
All right. This is sounding very, very good.
Yeah.
You know what? Instead, what we'll do is we'll do this at a MoveCon, and a MoveCon will just be a Airbnb rent somewhere in Minneapolis before whatever Mall of America event there will be.
Sounds like a good time. We can go to that Nickelodeon park inside the mall. We can chill there.
Yes.
Nickelodeon Universe, I think is it. I just recently learned it exists. I didn't know this was a thing, and apparently it's been there for quite a while.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it blew my mind. I was like, what do you mean there's a Nickelodeon theme park? Turns out there's 2, and one of them is there.
Huh.
Anyways, yeah. We're drafting a full Heroes of the Storm related breakfast is what we're doing, by the way.
All we need is lunch and dinner covered. We gotta branch out.
Yeah. There it is. Crush also wanted to know how Bandit feels about Cecil replacing them as the mascot for CCL.
Oh, it's okay. It's Bandit and Logan have worked out strict rules with the Hero CCL on a contract base, so it's all good. He's still going to be able to show up on stream from time to time, but he understands that he can't be the star of 2 streams. He's got to back off of 1. So unfortunately, I guess actually fortunately, he's very humble about it. For anyone that doesn't know, Bandit's my dog.
So Cecil dog jersey could solve this.
I can't say anything about merch, but all I can say is you should at the Hero CCL Twitter, maybe the Wisdom Twitter, do both of them, at both of them, and say what you would like. Honestly, the best way, if you want something, is to let the organization who runs the thing know that you want it so that there's demand. So let's say you want a Cecil plushie, or let's say you want Cecil, let's say T-shirt or something like that. Like at Hero CCL and Wisdom on Twitter, and let them know so that they know that there is a demand for it, and maybe it's something they'll consider. I don't know what's being made. I wish I did, but that's probably the best way to at least push for it.
It does work. I am legitimately resurrecting my cocktail stream tomorrow night because so many of you asked for it. So we're doing a Halloween.
See, there you go.
We're doing a Halloween cocktail stream tomorrow.
Are any of the cocktails like vampire, like blood related? Like, are you can do like a
I mean, I can make literally
blood soda. I'm trying to think.
I could make
do a lot of cocktails.
I could make anything with Aperol or Campari, and it will end up blood red as long as
there
we
you go. Okay.
work with relatively clear spirits. Yeah. So there'll be something blood red tomorrow.
Perfect.
Yeah. There'll also be something that probably reminds one of embalming fluid because I do like gin. So.
Ooh, I know we're a little off topic, but I'm just curious, what kind? Floral or dry? Or like botanical or dry?
I usually use dry gin in cocktail making.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I have quite a few at this point. So.
Well, we'll have to talk.
They're not all juniper bonanzas. Not all of them. So, anyways, all right. Final question: if you could permaban 2 heroes from the CCL for the
Phoenix and Phoenix, both of them Phoenix. Sorry to cut you off. Phoenix, both of them.
Okay. The question was just because you don't want to cast them anymore. Does your answer stand?
Yes. I've said it on stream and I'll say it here, and you can at me on Twitter at Bahamut Gaming. I think Phoenix has the worst heroics in the game. I'm on a mission to help all those Phoenix mains out there get Phoenix heroics buffed. I'm just saying, his heroics are the lowest of the low, in my opinion. We've talked about this one for like extensively before, but like I just don't think they're useful. Like you could pick up so many different other heroes for such better heroics, but yeah, I'm Phoenix. You're drafting a loss.
I did.
Yeah, I said it.
I
said it.
So both your answers for Phoenix.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of them.
Is there anyone else that comes to mind where you're just like, oh, this is hard to cast?
Man, hard to cast. I'm trying to like rack my brain of every single hero as quickly as possible. Maybe White Mane, but I feel like it's mostly just because I have the least experience on her kit and everything. But yeah, like it's from a slightly serious position. Just I never thought Phoenix was impactful on any team, if many teams ever drafted. Yes, I've died to a Phoenix. Yes, I've lost to a Phoenix, but in our realm of Hero CCL, I don't think it's worthwhile. I think I have the stats on. I think he was picked twice last season and lost both games.
Makes sense.
Yeah. GG,
All right.
Easy.
All right. Well, re-up on the request for Phoenix heroic buffs.
There we go.
And yeah, I think we talked about it on the last episode you guessed it on. So if anyone's curious about greater detail on your opinions, go find the previous Bahamut Into the Nexus episode, or just go by your stream.
Yeah, you can come by the stream, ask me about my thoughts on Phoenix, and get a free timeout.
that is a bold choice in stream pimpage. I like it. I like it. All right. Well, thank you everybody for your questions. Again, as always, if you want to write in, be a part of the show, whether it's question or feedback, send it to itncast@gmail.com. And that's going to bring us to the end of this episode. We want to thank our patrons again just for being badasses and supporting us, because you don't have to, and it means the world to us that you do. It's because of your support that we pay our guests for their time. You know, they're not paying their mortgage or whatever, but, you know, we're more of the years I've spent doing podcasts not paying guests than I have. And it's all because of the support over at patreon.com/ITN. Thank you so much for that. And thank you to our Patreon producers, Declan H., Chris K., Sean B., Mike R., and this did an update from last week. So let me move on because I know we have a fifth. I'm going back to last week's template, which apparently didn't take because we have a fifth and it's not loading. Darn it. It was Tibbles, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Tibbles.
Yeah, Tibbles. I was like, why am I blanking? I was like, it was JM. I was trying to remember the first two initials. So thank you. All 5 producer slots are currently full. Check out patreon.com/ITN if you want to support us. You can catch us live Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern time right here on twitch.tv/AMoveTV. And before we go, starting with this week's guest, Bahamut, where can folks find you besides this Saturday when CCL Season 3 kicks off?
Yeah, you can typically find me on my 3 different platforms I use, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, all Bahamut Gaming. I hope you come by. I mostly do Heroes of Storm. It's been October, so I've been doing some spooky games here and there. But yeah, I do a lot of Heroes of Storm stuff. I do a painting stream once a month. I have another one coming up in November. And I also have a cooking stream. I make lasagna later in November for people as well. We're going to compare it to Lobbers. Apparently, Lobber had a very interesting lasagnas, to say the least.
Okay, we really do need to coordinate now. It's like you should make dinner. Afterwards, I'll make cocktails.
Oh man, this is really starting to work out. We got a whole menu coming along.
Yeah, we're okay. Into the Heroes Hearth restaurant when?
Let's say March 2022. Sure.
Any hibachi restaurants at Mall of America, hit us up. Kyle Fergusson, where can folks find you?
You can find everything I do over at kyleferguson.com, but also places like youtube.com/heroeshearth, where I do hero replay reviews with many of the people you may know from Storm Division, as well as upcoming CCL players. I'm also very excited to be a part of the CCL in my own special way, doing the halftime interview. So look out for me there. And that's all I'll talk about this week, because CCL's coming.
If you want more Kyle and me, we've got Nexus Gaming News, where we cover one major gaming news headline once a week, uploads every Tuesday. And we touched on it just a little bit today, but this past Tuesday, the episode that just got uploaded was a big wrap-up of all of the Activision Blizzard lawsuit news since the last time we covered it on that show, which would have been when the SEC subpoenaed top-level executives, including Bobby Kotick himself. So we had quite a bit to talk about, especially with the renaming of McCree, for example. So that episode is available everywhere now, over at youtube.com/AMoveTV or wherever you get your podcasts. Check out Nexus Gaming News. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of Into the Nexus. We'll see you all in the Heroes Hearth chat room this Saturday for Season 3 of the CCL. But until then, good luck and have fun, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.